Now, if you're looking for a crispy tea time treat that the whole family will eat, look no further, because Catherine Leyden's cheesy potato croquettes are on the menu this morning. Good morning to you, Catherine.
Morning, Alan.
These are lovely. They look lovely.
They're gorgeous, Alan. And I'm not cooking them in oil or fat. I'm cooking them in an air fryer, which I got recently. We'll come on to that in a moment. Now, it's also a great way, Alan, to use up leftover potatoes. Don't waste them. You can mash them and keep them in with a little bit of butter and milk. So get them good and hot, mashed. Into that, we're going to add our 125 grams, about 4 ounces of grated cheddar cheese. Now, while I'm mixing the cheese through, Alan, let me tell you lots of variations you can do with this. If you don't want to use the cheese, you could use a finely chopped scallion. Now, not an onion, because the onion won't cook as quickly as a scallion would. So we just mix that through.
Catherine, would you put in little bits of bacon or something into it as well?
Yes, you could crispen up some bacon, perfect. And or else just do them plain with no cheese, no nothing, perfect. Now the only tip I have for you, before you cook them, either in the oven, which we'll come on to in a moment, or in the fryer, which I have here. Now you can also shallow fry them in a little bit of fat in the frying pan, but not as healthy at all as this is. So now we're just going to take a small bit of the mashed potato. This is still a bit on the hot side. Now, here I have some Adam's cream plain flour, some breadcrumbs, and some egg. And we just take out our potato, roll it in the flour, and shape it into the croquette. Now, another small tip, if you want to be very particular and get a nice professional look, I'm just going to put it into the egg there for a minute. I have my breadcrumbs here, Alan. And you know when you grate the crumbs in a processor or whatever else, they're quite coarse. You will get a much finer crumb, which looks nicer in the end if you just press the crumbs through a sieve.
Oh, okay.
You get a lovely, nice finish on. Now, here we have the one we just tossed it from the flour into the egg. And now we're going to put it into the breadcrumbs, those lovely fine breadcrumbs. Roll them. And there we have one here.
And Catherine, would you recommend that you let the potatoes go cold before you start doing it?
No, they come together better, Alan, if you have them nice and hot.
Oh, okay.
So heat them up in the microwave before you're going to mash them, because that way the cheese will bind with it if you're using cheese or the scallions. Now, I make up an array of them, and then I put them in the fridge, Alan. This is important. Whether you're using the oven or a shallow fryer or a deep fat fryer, into the oven, into the fridge rather, and leave them for about an hour, and then into either a preheated oven, 400 Fahrenheit, 200 centigrade gas mark 6, and in order to get a nice crispy base on them, now by the way, I forgot to mention, if you wish, you can just spray a little spray of the 1 cat oil on them, but I find it's not really necessary, to be honest. 1 cat oil. Now, onto a wire tray, into the oven, the preheated oven, as I say. They would take 10 or 15 minutes to bake. But here I have, they do in 10 minutes in my fryer. I don't know whether you can see now what they look like. We just show you when out now. No fat at all, Alan.
So there's no oil or fat in that fryer?
Nothing.
Oh.
And there we have our lovely croquettes. Okay, now, they're delicious, just served with a little bit of salt and a little bit of parsley, just for presentation, Alan. But to be honest, they work pretty good, just as they are. There we have them. Now if you're doing it in the oven, Alan, it'll take about 15 minutes. In the fryer, about 10 minutes. And dip them then into, as I've suggested there for you, garlic, mayo, tomato ketchup, or the Ballymadu relish is very good with them. Or any other salsa or dip you like to use yourself.
And Catherine, when you're putting them in the oven and you're putting them on the wire tray, when they're baking, would some of it not fall through the wire tray, no?
No, when you have them this nice, even size, and you have them dipped, like the one we haven't baked yet, just to show you, that you just sit that on the wire tray. Now, it's important that it comes out of the fridge, first of all, and then into your oven or your fryer, or your deep fat fryer, or your shallow fry. So lots of variations there, both how to cook them and how to flavour them. The crispy bacon, cheese, the scallions, or whatever.
I think if I was making them and I went to the trouble of making them, I would definitely put some bacon in. Would you have to fry up the bits of bacon first? You would?
You do, absolutely. Get the bacon nice and crispy, and you get a nice flavour in them. And if you like smoked bacon, it's particularly good in them.
Right. So what relishes do we have here? We've tomato sauce, mayonnaise, and just a little...
Tomato ketchup, mayonnaise, and some Ballymaloe relish.
Oh, Ballymaloe relish.
It goes pretty well with lots of things, Alan. But I must say, they're good, aren't they? Have they heated them for you?
Ah, yeah, they're lovely and warm. So, Catherine, that...
Yeah. Now, another thing, Alan, just to mention, that when you have them at this stage and you put them in the fridge, you can keep them in the fridge for about 2 days before you fry them, so you can prepare them in advance. And now that the children are going back to school, you can have them prepared, that they have them ready for them when they come home for their lunch.
And Catherine, if you make a batch of them, can you freeze them?
You're better off freezing them raw, Alan.
Oh.
Freeze them in the raw state, and then take them out of the freezer and let them defrost for about half an hour is sufficient. And then into the preheated oven, 400, 200 gas mark 6, or your hot oil or fat, or your shallow fry, or your air fry.
OK, that is absolutely delicious. Thank you so much, Catherine. Talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon, love. Take care.
Take care.
Bye.
Take care.